Alright, it's over. In fact, I just did a video. I talked for 2 minutes about how long the show was. 6 hours and 34 minutes. I went almost on a 2-minute long rant. I was so annoyed with it. Look, it's not about me being an old ass man. I don't care if I was in my 20s or if I was in my 70s. We're not New Japan Pro Wrestling. Tony just doesn't care to listen to the fans. Many of them have said, we don't like these long shows. He doesn't care. He's going to keep doing it the way he is. And I know people, there was one guy that was leaving a response a couple of days ago saying, we're going to get 15 matches. Why so many matches? Well, what we got, I don't know. I did not watch the kickoff show. I didn't. I did not want to watch the kickoff show. And I know that the Battle Royal was there for the National Championship. I didn't care. Because I'm not going to spend almost 6 hours doing that. It's too much. But let me give you like this before I get started here. We got a lot to talk about. This is going more than 30 minutes, guys, just in case. I'm sorry. I'm going to say this. We got a lot of action. A lot of action. But a lot of it either was not needed, looked fake, or was basically booked to be fake. And when we really had something important, 2 reveals. Both of them didn't have any time to marinate because we went from one thing to another, to another, to another, to another, to another, to another. And there was no time to really absorb what has happened. Nothing. So let's talk about, I'm not going to talk about what happened with the TBS title. They didn't think it was important enough to let Willow have it on the show. They had to have it on a kickoff show, which was stupid in my perception. They could have done literally the women's tag championships on the kickoff show and let Willow be on the main card along with Chris Statlander and Tekna. They didn't want to do it. So I'm not even going to talk about it. But I am going to talk about just when the show started, the main card show, which it wasn't because the National Championship Battle Royal happened, which made no sense. I'm saying it now. I'm sure you like the Battle Royal, and no one's, I'm not going to tell you that a Battle Royal is bad. In many cases, Battle Royals can be fun. But we're talking about a feud between Jack Perry and Ricochet. And the only thing you need to do was set up the Battle Royal to give Jack Perry another shot to get that damn title. You could have done it on Collision and just gave him that moment. No. You put him in a Battle Royal where the main reason you did it is because you didn't want to be predictable. And the problem was, it was. That's why it felt fake. Guys, we knew for quite a while they wanted to give Jack Perry another title. We knew this. But they kept making Jack Perry lose due to outside interference because of the demand. Well, the Gates of Agony. And look what happened. They decided the best way to make it look really unpredictable was to do a damn Battle Royal. But then, here's the thing that made it so fake. You put Ricochet in the Battle Royal. Why did you do that? If you're going to do the Battle Royal and you say, and I know you're going to say, well, that's because Ricochet got in trouble and now you had to pay a price. It's not the point that you got to pay a price. The point is the Battle Royal was supposed to be for either an opportunity to get a title or it's meant to be for a vacant title. Ricochet wasn't stripped of the championship as far as I remember. He was not stripped. If he had been stripped of his title and the Battle Royal was for that, that would have made more sense. You know what it compared to? Guess what? The Dynamite Diamond Ring. Remember what Bandito had to go through to get that Dynamite Diamond Ring? And what happened? He won it, but it meant nothing because MJF, every single time since the casino battle, well, was it a Battle Royal or was it a gauntlet match for the Dynamite Diamond Ring? I don't remember right now. But essentially made me think the same thing. You gave Bandito a chance to be the next person for the Dynamite Diamond Ring. But then he didn't really do anything with it because MJF kept having it on his damn hand and in his possession. It's not the point if he had 6 of them. It's the point he had no right to be wearing it anymore. And he did. And in fact, in the last match of the night with him in it, he had it. So it felt empty. Like it was a joke. And Jack Perry being in that battle royal with Ricochet, and it was the last 2 of them, felt so fake. So easily fake. Like they did not really think about it. They didn't care to think about it. Just wanted to get it done. It got done. And Jack Perry's win feels hollow, even though it was as random as you can make it. But you put Ricochet in it. And then you had those 2 to be the last. Moving on. First match of the night. The Bucks versus FTR for the tag championships. Now I want to say this. The story for the Bucks had been going up and down for the last couple of years. Ever since, and I have to keep saying this, ever since we had that situation where they wanted to show that a CM Punk was causing trouble and showed footage of him starting a fight with Jack Perry. They have not been doing well. They tried to make the Bucks the bad guys in this, and everyone knew that this was only due to the fact that they're trying to distract away from what happened. Tony Khan and the Bucks made the conscious choice to do a video. Well, not do a video, but show it on Dynamite, the video of CM Punk and acting the way he did. It hurt them. So for the last few years, they've been trying to make up for that. First it was the Bucks, then it was the Death Riders. Right now there's no one, because I'm sure no one's really thinking about that anymore. But if you do remember it, that's the main reason we get the storyline with the Death Riders, which hasn't ended yet. Hang on. Sorry, my battery was flashing. I did not want to lose my focus. Let me give it to you like this. The vid pack that came first, I will say they tried to humanize the Bucks as much as they could, showing about their parents, what happened on Collision. Finally, I got the chance to see it. Showing about what happened to the brother. Showing their kids. And I believe I got a shot of it. It counts on if I'm putting any images in here. This is going to be a long review, so I don't know if I'm going to put images in. But if I do, it's right here. Seeing both sets of their kids, for Nick and Jack, coming out, it was alright. But it was obvious they really wanted to show the Bucks humanized here. Really showing they had lives, families, that what the FTR did was just trash. They must pay for it. And we got one hell of a match. I'm going to say I think this is one of the best matches I've seen the Bucks and FTR had in a while. I'm not saying it's the greatest match, but it was one of the best they had in a bit. Not the greatest. But in the end, the Bucks did not win. Everyone thought the Bucks was going to win. They should win. They have to win. But they didn't win. And I'm going, okay, they didn't win. Who's coming out now? I didn't remember that there could be a possibility that Adam Copeland and Christian could come out. I just thought, okay, who's going to come out? And then you hear Cope's music. And then you hear Christian's music. And then you see Christian attack with a spray can of something, spraying cash in the face. And they beat the crap out of Dax. And then they basically give a kill switch a little bit to Stokely, who now walks. And then the Bucks get back in the ring and they're just staring at each other. The previous generation with the current generation. I have a problem with this. I'm sure you're going to say, what problem you got to? Edge and Christian are back. Adam is back. Christian is back. Yeah, they're back. But how many months has it been since they were supposed to have this story with FTR? And they went off to either one of them was, and I don't remember what happened. I know that Adam had to do a movie, I believe, or a TV series. I don't remember what happened to Christian. I think it was just waiting for him to come back. And either he was recovering from some type of injury, or he just was waiting. I don't remember how long it's been. It's almost a year for them at least. Almost a year. And that was the problem for me. If they've been gone 2 or 3 months, I wouldn't have a problem with it. In fact, I'd be happy to see them back because now you can really do something with that story with Edge and Christian. The story that, well, saying Edge, Adam, saying when he came to AEW, he wanted to finish his career as Christian's tag partner because that's how they came in together. And when they're nearing the end, that's how they want to leave. That's what he want to do with his best friend that pretty much is his family. That's his brother. He will see him as brother for the rest of his life. He will see nothing else as his brother that he loves. But you're talking about maybe more than 6 months, if I'm right. I don't remember how many. It's nearing a year. It's got to be more than 6 or 7 months since they've been gone. 6 or 7 months of them being gone. Not 2 months, not 3 months, not 4 months, not 5 months. It's over 6 months. How can you feel like this story is going to be great? Yes, the fans in Los Angeles were loud and they were happy. But we're still talking about over a 6 month plus gap. That's made it cold. That's made it cold. They got a lot of hard work to convince people that this story should still be continued. They're going to have to bust their ass, particularly for me, because the Bucks have been trying to get back into their position. They went from being bad guys, they went and had nothing, then they switched to being good. Excuse me. Then they started to rise, and it looks like they should have just won. But they decided not to do it because guys who've been gone for 6 months plus finally decided to come back. And finally, the original story that was supposed to be done before they left is now going to be done, and it's cold. Moving on. Next match. A match I didn't care about, but I understand why they did it, but I didn't give two damn flips. Marina Shafir versus Toni Storm, trying to make Blood and Guts of 2025 a storyline. Now I'm going to be here. I'm going to say this to you guys right now, right here. I did not care about Marina Shafir at all when she went to the tag division, and then when she started messing with those who were the champions. I didn't care. You know why? Because there was one chance for Marina Shafir to feel important, and that's when the Death Riders were so hot. Instead of holding a damn briefcase, they should have put Marina Shafir to try and get the AEW championship. That's what they should have done. After she had proven that she can take on guys near her own size and flip them around and put them to sleep. Instead of, at that moment, that yes, the Death Riders are really hot. Why didn't you let her go into the women's division, either to go after the TBS title, which would have been the best thing at the time, or the world title? Wouldn't it have been better back then when you saw that the world title, who Toni Storm was controlling, you could have had Marina Shafir go into it and then win. And then she would feel credible as a champion because she had the Death Riders behind her. No. Only thing she did was hold a damn briefcase, flip a guys around, and then put them to sleep and kick them. And yes, she did a good job of Blood and Guts, but we're still talking about so much time between the time she started becoming hot with the Death Riders to Blood and Guts, when she was not hot anymore and she did a decent job in it, to now. I didn't care. I didn't care about Marina Shafir. Did she do a decent job in that match? She did alright. Gotta admit, she was really hyped for that match. Unfortunately, don't have a shot of it, but for her, she was excited. And you know how you know? The headlights were showing. Now, I'm not trying to be sexualized about this, but one of the problems that many people have, they tend to forget when you go into an environment like that, you can show how excited you are, and you can't always hide it. Of course, she calmed down when she started doing the match, and those suckers went from headlights here to go back to normal, but they zoomed in a lot on her nipples. I'm sorry, they did. Whoever was holding the camera or who was in the production room, someone decided to zoom in on her, and her nips were as hard as rocks. You can cut diamonds with those bitches. And it was you kind of wish they had zoomed back a little bit. But the match was okay. But this wasn't about her. This was about the first of the surprises. When the match was over, Tony won. I believe Tony won. Did she win? Hang on a minute. Yeah, Tony won. And I thought, this didn't make any sense. I don't care. At least until the lights went out. The lights came on, and Ronda Rousey appeared. Now, they did say that she's going to have a MMA match on what? I forgot. They said in May, I think. May 15th, I think. She's going to go back in Octagon again, I think. But she showed up. And everyone was shocked and surprised she would show up, because if you have not seen any of her interviews, she says she got burned by the WWE badly. How the women were being treated, how she was being treated. She did not like it, and she thought she would never do anything in wrestling again. Ever. And then she appeared in the AEW ring. She appeared literally in the AEW ring. I think I said AEW. I'm going to give you like this. It was surprising, a nice surprise. Since I didn't look at the grid sheets, it was great. But here was the problem. Once the fight was over, and they're getting ready for Moxley and Kateska for their match, instead of giving us a vid pack to at least break it up so we can have a few moments to really process what just happened. Ronda just appeared in an AEW ring where she was saying she would never work in wrestling or do anything in wrestling. Now, I know some people say, oh, that's not true. She said she would do it. She did interviews where she said she has been burnt by WWE and she was considering never doing wrestling again. But we didn't get that. We had no time to absorb that moment of Ronda appearing on AEW. This is what happens when you overstack the damn card with how many matches? The one match that was an overlap from the kickoff, that was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 matches. Not counting the kickoff. I don't know how many matches were on the kickoff next to the TBS title. I could say that's 12. But still, what the fuck? What are you doing? This is wrong. You didn't even give Ronda Rousey that moment to really soak into the people at home, let alone the people who was in the arena. And we went straight to the Continental Championship with no vid pack for Kateska, for Moxley. But we got one hell of a match. It was a strong style match. It was. It was a good strong style match. But here's the thing. Kateska did great. But he didn't win. And I'm like, what? Why? This would have been the best time if you're going down that route with Kateska and Okada. If you're thinking about combining the two titles again as an undisputed title, it would have been good for Okada to having an attitude with Kateska, and then eventually they would have their feud, and then they would try to have one of them win so they can unite the two titles again. If you were going there. But they didn't. Now, many people say, well, that's great. Kateska didn't do it. We didn't want to see Kateska versus Okada. Well, here's the thing. That's what they've been booking. Guys, they've been booking for almost a year now. Kateska with an attitude with Okada having an attitude with Kateska. Doing this to him every single time. Kateska showing respect. Him doing this all the time and screwing him over multiple times upon multiple times. And pissing him off to the point where he can't stand it anymore. He wants to rip off Okada's head. This would have made the best sense. It's not if I like it. It's what they booked. And they didn't do it. And the way I think, they'll probably try and do it later. Then it's like, what was the point of him even going up against Moxley in the first place? Are you just going to have him try and get the International Championship? Wouldn't it have been more important to do the Undisputed title again? To make a feud between two guys that many people think would be one of the classics of the AEW. Nope. They just dropped it. And maybe later, on a Dynamite, a random one, we're going to see Moxley lose to Kateska. Or worse, lose to Okada. Let's say Okada tries to get the title from Moxley, and then Kateska wants to get the undisputed title from Okada. I'm just saying. Next, women's tag championships. Cross and Bane versus the Babes of Wrath. Now, we know that Penelope Forbes is out. So, what is her name? Laura Cross? I don't remember her first name, but Cross. She's now in her place. I'm going to tell you this. Why wasn't this on the kickoff show? And why wasn't the TBS title here? You want to make Cross feel important. Wouldn't it have been good that she was on the kickoff show? They could have won the titles there. Would have made a difference. But you decided, because she's now new, she's part of the AEW, that you want two badass bitches to have those titles. And I'm like, you wasted the TBS championship, which is supposed to mean something, for the tag championships, which at this point have not meant a lot. Now, I'm not saying that Willow isn't super popular. I'm not saying that a Harley Cameron isn't really popular either. They are. But what is more important, the TBS title or the tag titles? What's supposed to be more important? Willow is more important than Harley. And you just let Willow win on the kickoff, but lose on the main card. So you can just present two new big bad bitches as the champions. Now many people say, well, that's great. No, it isn't. You just sacrificed one of your signature championships for a minor championships. I'm sorry. And worse yet, there was no build. No build. Now you're going to say, well, dude, there was build. What's going on with Megan Bayne? There's always been build. No. There's no build with Megan Bayne. Megan has not won anything important. She's no better than Lance Archer. And I've always hated Lance Archer. Has never gotten anywhere. He never got a championship. He's never been treated right when any time he's supposed to have at least a shot at the TNT title. He could have had a shot at one of the other minor titles like the All-Atlantic title, the International Championship, something. He's done nothing. Nothing. You could have given him the ROH World Championship. He's done nothing. And now I felt the same way as Megan Bayne. So even though you let her win the title across, she still feels like nothing. She feels like nothing. And that's me. You guys could be happy with it. You guys be fine with it, but I'm just being honest here. Next, the women's 2 out of 3 fall world championship. Tekla versus a Chris Statlander. Let me give it to you like this. When you see the situation with Chris Statlander, you wonder what happened. At one point, she finally started making leeway as the Galaxy Killer, or the Cosmic Killer, whatever you want to call it. She seemed to start getting somewhere, and then they just decided, as she's beginning to get somewhere and she's really getting over, give the title to Tekla. Now, mind you, Tekla needed the title. She had been there long enough. She had been built well enough with the Sisters of Sin as the Triangle Chaos. I think they should have just called themselves the Sisters of Sin, because I think that is a better name for all three of them than the Triangle of Chaos. The Sisters of Sin sound way better. But that's where they went. So we got this 2 out of 3 fall match. Let me give it to you like this. I did like it. It was okay. But did I really believe that Chris Statlander was going to win? No. Not really. I didn't think she was going to win. And I kind of frustrated about this because they had their moment with Chris and then they just dropped her. And now she doesn't feel important going up against Tekla. And now, instead of letting Chris be the one on this situation, where if Tekla was going after the title now, it would have been good to see her win at Revolution. But it's Tekla who won. And now, Tekla defended. Sisters of Sin saved her. And here you go. I'm like, do I care? No, because Chris doesn't feel important anymore. It's just how it feels. And I don't even know what they're going to do with her now. And worse yet, understand this, guys. Who is now Tekla's next opponent? Who? Because it's not going to be Ronda Rousey is messing with Toni Storm because Toni got her face knocked off by a Marina Shafir. So since they're friends, Marina Shafir and Ronda Rousey, you're going to see Toni Storm working with them. Look what happened. Toni Storm walked back to the ring once Ronda showed up and got her teeth knocked down her throat after they were trying to grab one another by Marina Shafir as she was trying to get her hands on Ronda Rousey. I'm like, okay. Now what? Who is up next? Who is one of those women in the back that can feel important enough to go up against Tekla? You guys tell me below. Who is important enough? It's not Willow Nightingale because she's still got the TBS championship. I don't know if it's going to be Mercedes Moné. She's been dropping her titles. So I don't know. I do not know. You guys tell me below. Next. The Trios Championship. Speedball. Well, let's make it clear. Jet Speed and Mystico versus the Don Callis family. We just found out, I'm not even going to talk about that match, not important, but we just found out Mystico is now signed to AEW. Excuse me. Whether he is changing again is making my throat crack. Or voice crack. I think the reason I'm botching here is because, do you care about Mystico? He's still signed to CMML, from what I understand. He's still doing dates there, but he's now signed to AEW as well. Or is he just directly signed to AEW? He could probably be directly signed. And he might be working both of them right now. But let me give it to you like this. Seeing Mystico win the Trios title and seeing how emotional he was, didn't really feel much. I didn't. Because they've done nothing with Mystico. Now the question is going to be, would they do anything with him? Will he feel important enough? No. He's not going to feel important enough. He's not. Mainly due to the fact that he's a luchador. They have barely done anything with any Latin wrestlers. They haven't done anything barely with Bandito. Yeah, they had that one with MJF, but they just needed a short-term opponent against him. Other than that, Bandito's done nothing as the ROH champion. Nothing. He should have already been on the Dynamite roster already, but he's still doing ROH. And that just feels like, what's the point? What's the point? I'm like, why do I care? And I don't know. I don't know. You guys tell me below if you care about Mystico. I don't hate him, but do you actually think they're going to do anything with him? No? Now let's go to another match where we got two luchadors. You got Andrade Elías versus Bandito. Bandito originally was a fan. Met him in real life. And then eventually became a wrestler himself. And instead of taking the time to do this and give it months, at least a month or so build. No build. As far as I know, there's no build. It's just having this match, and the story is that he was a fan, and it was only within about a week, and that's it. I feel sorry for these guys. I know, and I want to make this clear. Some people are going to say, dude, you can't make all of them great. They can't have all matches and storylines up here. I'm not asking for here. I'm asking for here. And you know what their storyline is? That's what it is. No time to build it up. Very little time to make it feel important. Even though they did get a vid pack, nothing felt built. Nothing felt important. You got two good wrestlers. And then seeing them try and take off their pants was silly. Seeing El Elio having a chance to go near another gorgeous piece of ass. I don't know if I'm putting images here. I don't think I might do any images. I don't know yet. Because I am still getting pain because of my ankle. If you don't know, I twisted my right ankle, which has an Achilles tendon tear. And my right side was messed up, so I had to put all my weight on my left side, and everything on my left side is hurting. Oh, so unlucky. But if I don't put any images in, that's the reason why. And the match was fine. Andrade did good. Bandito did good. But what does this really give us? I mean, I don't know. I don't know how they're going to build Andrade and the Don Callis family, because they don't really make anybody incredibly important except maybe Okada, maybe. Fletcher, yes. Maybe Andrade will come in a close third. Well, distant third. I don't even know what they're going to do with him. They have so many people in the family that no one's getting completely over. But it's just me moving on. Tornado tag. The dogs. I'm going to say this. I'm going to say this. Why? Why? I don't know why you didn't let the dogs win. Look. The story's supposed to be that Darby Allin's trying to get back at Gabe Kidd. Gabe Kidd is now having Connor and Clark Connor, who looks like Chris Jericho when he was younger, of course, and Dave Finlay, who just came in, who needs to be built up. And you make them lose. The one who had to eat the pin, I do believe, was not Dave Finlay, but Clark Connors, who's supposed to be so important. And he ate it. And a Dave Kidd was zip-tied at one point to the stage, and also Darby Allin was chained up. I believe I got a shot of it, if I'm going to do images. I don't know yet. And his chain was tied to one of the tag ropes. They wanted to make sure he didn't go anywhere. And at one point, people started saying, please help Darby, because no one was paying attention. He was just tied up with no way to get free. When you're hearing people chant, please help Darby, to the faces, I'm like, okay, this ain't good. I mean, it is a reaction. But if the faces could not even... It wasn't that they weren't trying to grab Darby. They were paying no attention to him. And the crowds had to start begging them to free Darby Allin. I don't know if that was good. For me personally, I don't know if that was good, because it was a reaction. But it wasn't like a reaction if both of them were trying to get to Darby with some scissors, or trying to get Darby with something that can cut him loose. None of that. They just paid no attention to Darby. And I don't know if that was good. For me personally. Moving on. Let me see, am I forgetting anything? Swerve Strickland versus a Brody King. Let me give it to you like this. Brody King was going to job. There was no way he wasn't. But he looked damn dominant. And he was a favorite there because he is from Cali. He was from Cali, different part of Cali, but he was a Cali boy. And let me give it to you like this. He was over. He is over. And that's good. That's a good thing to see that he's over. And Swerve now is the man who is the most dangerous man alive. He did whatever it took to beat him, including smacking a Brody King to the floor with no padding, to really show that he's willing to go as far as he needs to go. I'm not going to tell you that was bad, because it wasn't bad. It wasn't. Only question is, what now for Brody King? I really have to think carefully about this. Because when you look at Brody King, they have a main eventer now. I'm not saying he's going to be a great main eventer. He is a main eventer. I'm not saying he's here. He's here. He's easily upper card that could easily go into the main event when you need him. But are you going to do it again? Are you going to make him feel important? Are you going to give him stories that's going to make him mean something? Are you going to do that, AEW? I don't know if they'll do it. So he's got momentum like Eddie Kingston did. Anywhere Eddie went, Eddie Kingston was over. But then they did nothing with him when he came back. And before that, he was over. Before he won the Continental Classic, the first one, and became Continental Champion, and was holding the Continental Champion, the ROH Championship, and the New Japan Pro Strong Championship. When he was holding all that, and then when he lost it, you could have built him after CM Punk had left to become the next world champion, and or at least a TNT champion, and then put him on Collision, where that could be the leader of Collision, which could define the show. They didn't do any of it. So I look at Brody King just like Eddie Kingston. He is now over. The fans want to cheer for him. And I don't think to do anything with him. And he's a good big man. But I don't think to do anything with him. Alright. Let's get to the final one here. Just making sure I don't forget anything. If I do forget something, I'm sorry. There's a lot of show. And it is over. It's more than 1 o'clock already. I think that's it. Final match of the night. Texas Death. Hangman Page versus an MJF. If Hangman loses, he no longer can challenge for the championship at all. So that means even when MJF is no longer champion, he still can't go after the title. It wasn't like some stipulations that if I lose, you, as long as you're champion, I will never challenge. No. If I lose, I will never challenge again. Period. No matter who's the champion. Period. This was something I wasn't expecting. I'm going to give you like this. When you look at MJF, as a champion, he's done good, not great. Mostly due to the fact he had no one ready to work with. He hasn't. Now he does. And I think I might put images in. I'm going to start showing images right here, I believe. And you're going to see at least 1 or 2 images of the match itself. I don't know where I'm going to put them, but let me give you like this. There was a lot going on. And there was some people who were horrified. I think I got one image of one guy that was horrified due to the fact of the needle in that MJF put inside Hangman's mouth. I believe I got that shot. It's in my face. And then here's a look at the guy who saw that. Dude, they were trying so hard to make this as special as possible. And I'm not going to deny it wasn't a good death match. I'm not saying it was the greatest, but it was a good death match. The match itself, I think, was one of the best matches on the card. Not the greatest. I can't actually. Which one was the best match? I think the tag match between the Bucks and FTR was the best match of the night for me personally. But this one comes easy in the second place. It's not about the quality of the match, of how they were fighting. It was about the story itself, that Hangman had to win, or he would never challenge no matter who was champion after MJF. He can never go after that title again. So I'm like, okay. It really sounds like MJF has to lose here, because what story are you going to tell with Hangman if he loses? How are you going to tell the story? Oh, he lost. I think I got a picture of the blood-stained camera with MJF holding the title over him, because he jumped onto the stretcher just to prove it. I think I got that shot. It's in my face. Dude, did they give us a swerve? Yes, they did. But I'm going to tell you this. They better have good writing here, because here's the problem now. Here's the problem I see. Doing something you expect them not to do is something we don't see with AEW. They're always very predictable, and when it comes to the regular stuff, very predictable. And then when they should be building people properly, they're incredibly chaotic, and they don't build anybody correctly. Here, they built Hangman very well until he won, and then they didn't really do much with him until he lost, and now here's the big question. Now that he lost again, what is the story for Hangman? He can't ever challenge for that title, even if MJF did not keep it anymore. No matter who it is. It's not, it's now set in stone unless they reverse it, which is going to make it like, well, Cody couldn't do it anymore. Now you're just going to reverse it with Hangman Page. You should have just said it, if you win, MJF, I won't challenge as long as you're champ. That would have been more easier to say than permanently. Because if they don't do something with Hangman, that is good. Because he still has the Trios title, yes. The tag titles, yes. The Continental, the International Championship, the National Championship, the TNT Championship. I know there are multiple different championships he can always go to, and he can be a champion of course. He can. But they better build him correctly going into it. Because if they just want to throw a title on him and say, look, he can't challenge the world title, but there's so many other titles, he will become the greatest TNT title, or greatest national champion, or greatest international or continental champion. He will always be the best. If you don't build the story to make him come back after losing and being broken, this makes no sense. But it's just me. I hope you enjoy this review of Revolution 2026. Please give me a comment below, a couple of likes. Remember, just in case you don't know, you want more people to see my video, you got to either say something in the comments or maybe give me a like. Peace. I hope this makes any sense.